Nobody has ever laughed at the University of Lachute. I don't believe the person without him I couldn't have done it, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure there's a lot to explain, so let's dive into it. Throw your hands in the air and wave like just don't care. What you want to head up for a little while?
Hi.
Hi.
My perspective of the movie was a lot like, I felt like I listened to so many of your podcasts and listened to all of your Batman and Batman and YouTube stuff. And watching this was like, you're our child, we're so proud of you of what you mean. We're like, oh, this is awesome.
I get that a lot in my career. People who are like, very good, Kevin. God forbid I ever have to compete on adult terms and be fucked up. But yeah, I get that a lot, and I love that to death. I do that. I do it for that reason. Like when I was a kid, my mom would be like, you were clever, you know, and shit like that. And I like that feeling. Like I remember there was a moment where like we used to watch the Vern and Shirley together, me and my mom. And there was a joke that they made on this one episode that made my mother laugh. And I remember the joke. It was real simple, setup, punchline, payoff kind of thing. At the end of the episode, I did it for my mom. And my mom laughed. She's like, oh my God, you're so clever. And when my father came home from work the next day, she's like, do what you did for me, do it for your dad. And I did it for my dad, and he's like, well, I don't watch that show, but I guess it's kind of funny. And then for the next week, she made me do it for anybody. Like, do it for your grandma, do it for Donald, do it for your brother and sister and shit. Everybody, she had me do it. And I like doing it because I like the feeling it gave me. By somebody being like, good job, you fucking mimicked something well, and it made us laugh and shit. But it was a moment, I think everybody has this moment. Anybody who ever wants to self-express in life has this moment. Like, I was just imitating, you know what I'm saying? I was just doing something I had heard before. Imitation is the highest form of flattery, as they say. It's also the first step on the road to self-expression, right? The idea of fucking just kind of saying that joke over and over again taught me how to fucking tell a joke. And then one day I got sick of fucking telling the over and over joke, and I was like, let me see if I could change it. Let me see if I can put my words into it. So I changed it from Roberta Showing to me and my brother's name, and I said it in high school instead of fucking brewery, and then told that joke. And then suddenly that got a laugh. And it was pretty astounding because I'd always been getting a laugh of somebody else's shit, man. That was imitation. Right up until the moment where I changed the words and made it mine. That was innovation, right? Like you imitate up until the moment you can innovate. Everybody in this room does that. No matter what it is in life and stuff. You see somebody do, you can't really see it. Well, it can't be it unless you can see it. You see somebody else go first and you kind of head in that direction. So I love, you know, the placating, like, good job. It's what makes me go to the next thing. It's almost the closure on the whole thing. The investors think it's the money. For me, it's just somebody being like, good job, or a job, or whatever the fuck it is, and then sends me off. So I love it. I love watching the people that know the podcast and shit, because they kind of saw it all come together as well. And, you know, I love going out and talking about it an hour in advance, tell a long story before the movie begins, because it really makes the movie go down a lot smoother. Imagine you hit that shit cold, you go, what the fuck is going on? So it's nice to be able to come out and tell a long story and stuff. But I appreciate that, man. That's honestly what keeps me going. Don't get me wrong, I'm a capitalist, I like making money and stuff like that. But there's a lot of ways to make money. This isn't the only way and stuff like that. Getting out and self-expression ain't the only way. So I do it for that, for the very like, good fucking job and stuff like that. And you know, it's like, some people don't say that, some people like, bad fucking job. But I always hear the good job the loudest, man, because obviously I just keep going forward. So if you're looking for somebody to blame for this, blame yourselves, I guess, by fucking encouraging you to do this sort of shit. Did you even have a question?
No, the actual question was, it's kind of a joke question, but was this kind of like the setting stone for, because Trump is a very scary cartoon figure, but he's so real? Was this like...
You think I'm much smarter than I am. But now, I'm going to start start saying that in the States. And the whole, of course, it's a Trump metaphor. No, I mean, he was around, but he wasn't around when we started this and stuff like that. And the idea of him running for president was like, yeah. No. But she's never been up here before, too. She's been in Canada, but she's never been to Quebec. So she was like, I like it. It's really beautiful. I was like it a lot. We might move up. Clever enough to do that. It's honestly what it is, like, here. There's a metaphor in this movie. I was watching it again tonight. Like, I've seen it so many times when the movie plays, I generally don't watch it. But I was enjoying it so much because fucking the crowd was with it and shit like that. I'm telling you, that fucking University of a shoot joke, that was amazing. Only here. But as I was watching it in the back, like, the whole thing is, this is the story. It's crazy. And you won't see it the way I do. But it's the story of Tusk, essentially. The third act really is the story of Tusk. I am the mad Nazi who lives underground, who shakes his fists at critics because they chased him away from doing what he wanted to do. And the girls are the girls. Harley is Harley. And essentially, Harley comes into the movie and does what? Like, stops the mad Nazi from fulfilling his plan of killing all the critics because his art just went awry. He just lost himself in his art, more or less. And so when we made Tusk, when we made that scene with the kids, I was like, fuck, this is what it's all about. This reminds me of like why I started in the first place. So it's a dopey-ass fucking movie and shit like that. But when I watch it from the back of the room, it's the story of how my kid saved me from myself, from just jamming my head up my ass for the rest of my life and being an artist and shit like that. She taught me the fun of what it was. Like, that's what brought me here in the first place. I didn't try to make a movie going like, I want to build a career. It just looked fucking fun. Like, everyone else was doing it. I'd go to movies to see other people doing it and shit. Like, why them? Why not me and stuff? And somewhere along the way, once you get a career, you start trying to protect that career and shit like that. You start making bizarre choices, more bizarre than this, just safe choices and stuff like that. So, Tusk was the kind of first time I was going back into it in like 3 years. I hadn't made a movie in a while and stuff. And it was wonderful because it was just based on a batshit stupid premise. It was more like, let's just see if we can do it. More than anything else, that was the journey. Let's just see if this is possible and stuff. It was more an exploration of like what was possible. But in shooting that last day with the kids, and particularly my kid, in particular, it saved me. Like, I was like, oh my God, I was reborn. I was like, yeah, fucking this is fun. Like, I got into this for fun, not to fucking like build a career or anything like that. Like, just fucking have a good time with this. And the very next thing was like yoga hosers. And yoga hosers was the thing I was probably most terrified to make in life. It has all the hallmarks of something that everyone just wants to fucking cut down. Like, it's its own unique fucking little thing. Doesn't look like anybody else. Boy, he overuses those Canada jokes. He put his fucking kid in it and stuff like that. It's every angle it can be attacked from. And, there's trepidation because I was like, well, fucking, you really want to do that and shit? Like, you took enough shit for Tusk. You really want to head down that road again? But I do this like 10,000 times over, man, and bend over and take it from every critic on the planet just to have the moment that we had on Tusk that led to this. The rest of my life, I get to work with my kid until she's disinterested in it, or like most other actors I've worked with, stop working with me altogether. And stuff. So when I watch the movie, it's certainly not like, the Trump metaphor. That whole third act is about me. Like, I look at Ralph playing that fucking Nazi, and I was like, oh, I recognize that guy. It's uncomfortably close to the dude who got lost in his art at one point, to the point where he started fighting with critics and shit. So I always look at the third act of the movie as an apology to critics, because ultimately, the girls come in and save the critics' lives from the asshole artiste who just wants to kill them all and stuff. It's way deeper than anybody expected to go in this movie. But honestly, that's what the third act is about to me. And you'll never look at the movie the same way after that. You'll be like, oh, it's a metaphor? Fuck, it sucks. Where do we want to go next? Sure, right there. Yeah.
So I want to ask, in Montreal, language is a thing. We have a thing for language here. I just wanted you to talk about the French in the movie because I was surprised by that. I wasn't expecting any French at all.
Oh, to see the French up on the screen?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, that just came from having a performer who could fucking speak fluent French. Like, she grew up a child of Vanessa Paradis, so her French is impeccable. Way better than her father's French, I tell you. guys say. Like, they say basic a lot in the movie and shit. That came from them. I didn't write that stuff. Because they were 15-year-old girls. They knew that world better than me. So you bring their attributes to the table. You know, when you're figuring out how to put something together, and you know you've got the tools in front of you, like some people write a script and then they blind cast it with people they don't know. I tend to like to write for people that I know I'm going to cast. It gives you a little bit of an edge in storytelling. So I knew Lily Rose could speak French fluently. So at one point I was like, hey man, can we do a scene where you just fucking speak French? Because that is the most special effect to an American audience. You can show them fucking dinosaurs and shit like that, or fucking the Empire blowing up the fucking rebellion and anything. But everyone fucking stops, every English-speaking American stops dead to watch somebody who's just speaking English suddenly speak another language.
Yeah.
We're like, how the fuck is that possible? And then we shot the movie, in a movie where there was a lot of weird fucking things to look at and shit. That one scene where we did the interrogation room and Lily Rose just started speaking French, everybody fucking stopped and started watching and shit. People come over to the monitor and be like, it's fucking incredible. Just comes another language, like, oh my god. So like it's the special effect in the world, but it's a big deal to us because most of us are one language speakers. So I felt like I could class the picture up by being like, speak a little fucking French. And she got to do it with her dad, and I remember when we were shooting the scene, she's just like, look, I can do it, but I'm just telling you right now, he can't. And I was like, we'll subtitle you, we'll let him speak English. She was like, okay. And so it came because of that, like the idea that she could speak it, like, let's fucking use it. Like I told the girls every step of the way, I was like, I don't know if we'll ever get to do this again. I'm shocked we got this fucking far. While we're doing it, like, what have you ever wanted to do? What can you do? Show them what you can do. Like, even with the singing, I was like, sing some songs, you speak French, you play the bass. Like, just use any fucking remote, quote-unquote talent you got in the quiver, pull it out and fire all those arrows, because who knows if we ever get to do this shit again. But while we're doing it, just suck the marrow out of these fucking bones. Speak some French, man, and she did. It was kind of fun. And then we got the subtitle. I've always wanted to do that in the movie. Like, I never like movies where people speak a different language. So I was like, this is gonna be awesome. And there was one moment where, you know, she says, you gotta get us out of here. And we spell it O-O-T. So yeah, it was just like, I've been around it forever. Film made me an international person, more so than I was ever gonna be in my life. And I've been to France many times, been to Spain, been to a lot of places where they don't speak my language and stuff. And there's something beautiful about it. And I always feel bad for like people that have to sit through shit, don't have something for them in it. Like my brother is gay as the day is long. And he told me when I was younger, man, when he finally came out, well, he didn't come out, my mom outed him and shit. And I was like, why didn't you let him tell me? And she was like, hey, he wasn't gonna, I don't know, it was taking too long. So my brother like said like, I'm gay, and you know, I was like, wow, fucking, why didn't you tell me? He's like, I don't know. I was like, were you afraid that I was homophobic or I'd be shitty and whatnot? And he's like, no, it's just I haven't seen him a little bit. He went to college and moved out of the house, so I was still home. So, you know, I talked to him about his life being gay, and one of the things, of course, I gravitated toward because is an interest of mine was like, do you, like, how do you go to the movies? So he goes, like a fucking straight person. And I was like, no. And so when you sit in most movies, it's like a boy falls in love with a girl, girl falls in love with a boy, vice versa. He goes, yeah, you're right. So it's not a lot of fucking gay portrayal out there. He's going, but like, I can appreciate love. He's going, you know, people fall in love. I can get into that and stuff. I don't have to be fucking too loose for you to understand it. He says, but it'd be nice to see more of that and stuff like that. So when I went to make movies after like 2 years later, one of the things I wanted to do was just always include a little fucking gay content from my brother. Because if he had to sit through this breeder bullshit, he should have a little something like, oh yeah, like something for me. So I put it in the first. That's why there's so much homoerotic humor in the movies. That's my little shout out to my brother, man. Like, every time somebody's like, oh, suck your dick, my brother's like, So like it's an extension of that. The idea we had somebody in our cast and we also had a story that allowed for one of our characters to just suddenly bust out some fucking French, and I knew it would floor every English speaker that I knew, every American that I knew, because the idea of two languages in one head just doesn't work for me. So we included families. It's nice to be kind of inclusive, you know what I'm saying? Especially with this movie. It's a movie about girls as heroes, so you want to be as inclusive as possible. Like that was the idea, right? be it unless you could see it and stuff. So inclusive means like, hey, everybody, not just people that speak English. In this instance, we had somebody that could fucking rock roll French. And it sounded fucking cool. So I'll be honest with you, like, one of my favorite filmmakers in the world is Quentin Tarantino, and fucking Royale of Cheese is a missed opportunity for me. I should have made that fucking joke. But I didn't. So I was going to have some people in my movie speak French. I didn't want them to do it. Okay.
There was a lot of cameos in your movie.
Yeah.
But the one that surprised me the most is Kevin Conroy.
Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
The process of, this is a movie, asking Kevin, can you do a cameo in the movie? Like, what?
He was on a podcast, and like the whole movie is cast out of and made out of podcasts. It all comes from like the stuff I normally do. And he was on an episode of Fat Man Batman. And I said, next thing I do, I gotta put you in and stuff. He was okay. And so it was this. And he was in New York, we were shooting out in Los Angeles. So I hit him up, I texted him, I watched him, and I was like, hey man, we're shooting this thing, and it's quick. There's like 3 lines or whatever. But I said like I would put you in a flick, like when I was doing it again. So do you want to come out? And he was like, yeah, sounds like fun. And he came out to play. Chester, the kid sitting next to him, he was like, he went to school with Harley. He's known Harley since, and Lily since they were 5 and stuff. But he's way into film. He goes to like a kids film school. Kid's gonna be a genius filmmaker. He already won some sort of fucking award and stuff in iTunes and stuff. So he came to like watch and hang out on set all the time. We couldn't make him an intern because he was like underage, he was 15. But he loved movie world, so we hung out with us all the time. So when we were shooting that scene, I was like, go stand next to Kevin. And we had a little art pin that we stuck on and stuff, so that it was literally like Batman and Robin. So everybody was like, come on, Robin, let's get out of here. Just something like that, but I love him. That is the voice of the one true Batman for me. Like I know a guy who plays Batman, so I should be like, oh, he's my favorite Batman. He's way up there, but Kevin Conroy, like when I read a comic book, when I read about Batman, if there's a word balloon, Kevin Conroy is the voice that I'll hear from now until the day I die. He is the voice of Batman. So to bring him into this, very obvious comic book movie and stuff, was kind of fun. Also, like, he got to be kind of shoulder to shoulder with the other comic book cameo with Stan Lee. He loved that. He was like, I'm the Stan Lee of this movie? And I said, no, he's the Stan Lee. Okay, where else do we want to go?
In the back.
Okay, way in the back.
I said it, so I'm going to.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you had any consultation for some of the very obscure Canadiana type notes that you put in the show.
No, that's just, I'm a fan. Like, I wrote a mini-series that hopefully we're going to make one day. It seems to get closer and closer every year. Hit Somebody. It's set in the world of hockey, but it takes place in Canada. The first half of the whole story is about a Canadian boy who grows up and goes to play in the big leagues and stuff. And the second half of it also takes place down in the States. So as a big Canada file, going back to being a kid all the way through my life, there's just some shit that I had in my head. Like there was tons of arcane Canadian data that I put in to Hit Somebody, and there's some shit I just couldn't fit in. I tried, but it wouldn't work. So in Tusk, it was the Duplessis orphans. I couldn't work that into Hit Somebody, but I was like, ooh, I can use that as a story in Tusk. Here it was Adrian Arcon. So one of those things that, like, you know, in your independent study, I'm sure they make you learn this shit. But me, I was just on the internet reading it for years. Once the internet happened, I was like, ooh, I can learn all about Canada. And so, and I did. That was like one of the things that always captured my imagination, because they called him the Canadian Führer and stuff. And he was serious. He really felt like Hitler was coming to North America. He was paving the way. So I always remembered that. I was going to use it, Hit Somebody, but I had no place to put it, because Hit Somebody begins in 1950 and ends in 1980 and stuff. So when I was writing this, and you know, the Brontes, I was like, oh shit, I can use some of that crap that I've learned over the years and put it into good use. And one of my favorite scenes in the movie is the classroom scene. Like, you know, I try to make funny movies, so I like hearing people laugh, but it's so quiet because people are like learning, like, you know, and I think she comes across like an excellent teacher. I would learn so much from Vanessa Paradis. Like, she's so fucking, I'm just sitting there listening the whole time. But I love that, especially with the John Carpenter type music under it and stuff. But the educational part of the movie, which, you know, so I remember we showed it in Sundance, and one of the reviews was like, the fucking middle of the movie is teach us Canadian history. What the fuck's this about? But I don't know, it's like these movies lately, you know, they're not like my earlier better films, as I call them. They're movies that like I want to make, and I just include shit that makes me happy. They're very masturbatory, I understand. And it's a very thin bridge that you ask an audience to come with you across. Not everyone's going to go for this and shit, but like, I don't know. What I love about it is like I look at it and I see my entire life, not just like, oh, the movie we made or I made with my daughter, but I see shit from my childhood. I see my entire life in that dopey ass movie. Like, I'm not here unless my parents take me on that fucking magical trip to Canada when I was a kid. And it stays with me, and I gravitated toward Canadians all my life. This is a true fucking story, man. I worked at Quick Stop. Quick Stop is owned by Mr. and Mrs. Tapar, but we call him Tapar. Wonderful fucking people, straight from India. He was one of the first yogis that had come to America to practice yoga and teach it and stuff like that. So, you know, they've been there for a long time in the States, and they would have friends come visit them from India. And one day I was working at the video store, you know, where Randall worked and stuff. Mr. Topper was covering Quick Stop, and he had a friend with him. And the dude came over from India. So I came in to get a Yoo-hoo at one point during the day, and he goes, Kevin, come over here. I came over and goes, this is my friend from India. I've known him ever since I was a child. I said, pleasure to meet you, man. I love your friend. Mr. Topper is a good boss and shit like that. Apple polisher. And so he goes, he is a fakir. And I was like, really? A fakir? Like a magic fakir? He goes, yes, he can tell the future. Give him your palm, he will read your palm. And I was terrified because I used to steal from Quick Stop. And I was afraid he'd be like, you are a thief. So I said, okay, and I gave him my hand, and the dude looked at my hand and he goes, oh, you're going to be a teacher. And I was like, really? Like a teacher? Like a school teacher? And he goes, no, a teacher of men. You will teach people things. And you will be in all the magazines. And I was like, really? For what? He goes, cannot tell you. And at that point, I'm like, could be for murder. Like, you know, but he said something, these are the fucking, this is the big one. He goes, and there is someone you will meet in your life, someone very important to you, whose initials will be S-A-M. And I said, oh, okay, I don't know any Sams. And he's like, I knew one guy, Sam Hall, I haven't talked to him in years. And he's like, I didn't say it's a person you know, and I don't say the name is Sam, but the letters come at me, I look at your palm, it says S-A-M. And so for, you know, it was a good 2 years for our film school, that happened. And I would like meet girls and be like, what's your name? And they wouldn't be like, say, or I'd be like, I'm done with you. I'm looking for my future. I went to film school in Canada, in Vancouver. They had this program in Vancouver Film School. It was nothing like they have in the States. Quick hit, 8 months, get in, get out, and stuff like that. You don't have to 4-year program. You don't get a degree, they just give you a certificate that says you finished the program. That's about as good as a fucking college degree anyway. So I was like, we're gonna try this shit. So I went to film school in Vancouver, in British Columbia, and I met a bunch of people, including people that I made like my first few movies with. Dave Klein, who's my DP for the first 5 movies, I think, or first 3, and then later on a few more. And then probably the most important person I ever met in my life, creatively, the guy who was my battery, the guy who like allowed me to be who you know that I am. We were 2 people that went to film school together, and both of us wanted to direct, but he fell into a supporting role, like a producer. Like he helped me make my dreams come true and shit like that. He's the dude I do Smodcast with as well. He's still in my life. I met him the first day of film school, and his name is Scott A. Mosier. Yeah. And when I walked in the room and shit, I had no idea. And one day we were sitting there talking and shit. It wasn't until 6 months into our relationship. I was like, what's your middle name? And he was like, A. And I said, A for what? He goes, just A. I was like, why? And he goes, my old man said, fuck the system. He refused to bow and give me a second name, and the nurses were giving him shit at the hospital. So he just put A. And so I just put A. He's like, doesn't stand for anything? He goes, no. And I was like, well, I'll be honest with you. One day I met an Indian fakir who told me that I would meet a man with the initials S-A-M. He's like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, oh shoot. He's like, what did the fakir say? And I was like, he said we should suck each other's dicks. Scott was like, oh But anyway, so it's fucking strange, man. Like, I've always been drawn. Without Canada and Canadians, I probably don't wind up doing anything. Scott is literally fucking the battery at the whole beginning of my career and stuff, and still the battery today when I sit down to fucking record this podcast. Without Scott, we don't get to these movies. Scott came up with the title Yo-Yo. There's an episode of this podcast where we're sitting around reading a news article about a yogi in Edmonton who had like been found with a piece of art that was stolen from a museum. And it was a real like fucking bedroom farce of a story and stuff like that. But we were like talking about it, and Scott was talking about the cops showing up to like bust the dude's door down, and the cops yelled, "Open the door, you goddamn yo-hosers!" And I just fucking died laughing. I was like, "Oh, hosers! Nobody's gonna put those two words together." So he came up with the title, not the story and shit, with the title, and Tusk was something him and I built together on the podcast and whatnot. And Moose Jaws, which is the next movie, the final fucking nail in my career coffin. The third in the True North trilogy, and that's just Jaws, but with a moose instead of a shark. That also came from an episode of Smodcast, sitting around talking to Scott and fucking doing a story about this woman who, like, she was driving her car and fucking hit a moose and put her in the hospital. And then her sister was like, "I gotta go visit my sister in the hospital." She went to see her, and she hit a moose and wound up in the hospital right next to her. And so I was like, "Holy shit, the moose are out for this family. This time it's personal." And Scott and I almost simultaneously go, "Moose Jaws!" And then we start making fun of it and shit like that. But, you know, now I'm at this point in my life where we used to do shit like that all the time, make up funny things, and go, "That's funny," and let it die there. But I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, Moose Jaws is brilliant, let's make it. And so, like, that's the next movie we do, and that'll close it all out and stuff. But I owe a lot to this country. Like, you know, one day I do hope to be a dual citizen. I hope they give me the citizenship. Like, it'd be nice, like, kind of, like, every once in a while I go to college and I'm like, "Here's a fucking degree," and they give me an honorary doctorate, and I didn't have to do anything for it. So I'm hoping after all these years of going, like, Canada, one day they're like, "Here's your citizenship, shut up." And until then, they just continue to inspire. Okay, where else do you want to go?
Yeah, here.
Okay, all right.
First of all, thank you for Clark's.
Thanks, man.
Watching movies with Harley, like when you were watching with your dad, have you tried to push some of your classics on her? And is she like, do you like the classics that your dad is showing you, or?
I'm gonna let you handle this.
You mean my dad's movies or other my dad's movies?
No, I mean.
Where are you? I don't even know where I am. Oh, I'm blind by. Oh, right.
No, I mean like the classics. No, like the Ghostbusters or.
Yeah, I mean, you know, my dad made me watch a lot of movies as I was growing up. Against my will, but thankfully he has good taste. So although they were against my will, some of them did end up being the most influential movies of my life. Like not even that long ago, but maybe like a year ago, we watched Silence of the Lambs, and I was like, "Oh my god, I did not watch. I was so scared." And he was like, "No, you have no choice." And I was like, "Okay." And after watching that and watching Jodie Foster, I was like, "This is fantastic." And her performance was just so badass, and I was like, if she can be that cool, perhaps maybe in a few years I can be that cool. And so, although once again I did not always choose to watch them, they did end up being an extremely important part of my life.
Tell them how many of my movies you've seen.
I've seen 2.
Question, which one?
It's for a fine reason. My mom, my whole life has been like, if you watch your dad's stuff, your relationship will be over. I was like, why? I don't get it. Other people seem to like it. And she was like, you don't want to know what goes on in your dad's mind. So I just stayed away because I like my dad. I think he's cool, and I didn't want to stop hanging out with him. I really like the two I've seen, and I think soon I will watch the others. But for now, it's only those two. And
Quite like the rest of the world, she's ignored Kevin Smith's career. She's seen a couple, she's like, good for him. And then watches Seth Rogen movies. The other one, on the other hand, look at her every once in a while text me. She's like, I just caught Chasing Amy. What an amazing movie. I was like, can you text your friend and tell her the same thing?
with you. I have to walk up the stairs and I would see you and be like, oh, that's what you were thinking about.
You really want to stay away from dog movies. Where else do you want to go? We'll go there and then we'll go here. There first.
Harley Quinn could be in Mallrats too.
Harley Quinn isn't. Yeah, good for you. I am in Mallrats. We were going to make Mallrats 2 a movie, and then it took about a year, and I went to Universal, first, fucking main Universal, big boy Universal, and I said, hey, I'd like to sequelize Mallrats, and they were like, we own that? And they were like, this movie didn't do well. It made like $2 million at the box office stuff. Let's make a lot of money on home video and stuff, but I don't know if big Universal's the way to go. Maybe you should try over at Focus. And so we Focus, this is Focus World. And we kept going down and down the Universal ladder until it looked like it was going to be straight to video, and I could care less. I just want to make the movie shit. But Jason Mewes saved the day. Jason Mewes was, I was on the set of Flash. I directed an episode of Flash. And he was there, and he was largely responsible for me being there as well. So while we were shooting at one point, he goes, isn't this great? We should fucking do this all the time. I was like, director Flash? That'd be amazing. I would do that. And he goes, no, we can just do a TV show. And I'm like, this is fun. All these people, it's not like a movie. We can do a movie. After a month, you say goodbye. So these cats all hang out for like 8 months. They'll know each other, probably fuck each other. This is amazing. Let's do a TV show. And I was like, you fucking say it like it's easy. You do a TV show. You come up with something. He goes, no, you do it later. And it's like, I was wearing, at the time I was wearing my Moose Jaws jersey. And he goes, there, Moose Jaws. It was on my chest. He goes, why can't that be a TV show? And I was like, because Moose Jaws is going to be a movie, and it probably shouldn't even be that. But it definitely doesn't lend itself to series. And he's like, what about Mallrats? And I was like, Mallrats is... Oh my God, you're right. And so, when I went home from Flash, I told my agent, I was like, can you get me in the room with Universal Television? I want to see if I can pick Mallrats as a series. So I went in, and they fucking loved it. They were like, oh my God, that absolutely works. And we closed the deal and stuff. They just came over to my house about 2 weeks ago, and I walked them through the entire series. I whiteboarded the series, just wrote it down, like episode 1 and 2 on one board, 3 and 4 on the other, beat by beat, and shit like that. And walked the Universal execs through it, and they were like, this is it, perfect. So we go out to pitch it in 2 weeks. I'm on the road until the 5th or something like that. And then I go home, and I think the week of the 8th, we go to Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, HBO, and Showtime, and try to pitch Mallrats the series. Harley's in it. She plays Jason Lee's daughter, Brody Bruce. Her name is Banner Bruce. And so it's kind of like, once again, I take all my inspiration from Canada. It's kind of like Degrassi Next Generation. Like, basically, we have our legacy cast of all the characters you know from the movie, and then their kids. And so it's kind of the story of Brody and his daughter. and she's like the co-lead and stuff. So I kind of look forward to The Big Bad Way because one of my favorite actors on the planet has always been Jason Lee. He's a person who knows exactly how to do my dialogue. Almost like he was put on earth to do my dialogue. And so is she. So like it's gonna be nice to see them working together, playing father and brother. But yeah, she'll definitely be there. You, that's right. So you know.
I was one of the people who paid $200 to meet you at the Comic-Con last year.
You went to the Comic Con?
Yes, a meet and greet. Yeah.
Was there a meet? Did I do a meet and greet?
At Montreal Comic-Con last year.
What? I mean, I know I did a Q&A, but I did a meet.
Yeah, you did a meet and greet before, and I was there. And
Beforehand, that's right. That's right. It's so rarely is it beforehand. It's usually
And
my bad.
I told you that I wanted to be a filmmaker, and I asked you for advice.
Yes. What was my advice?
Yeah, the thing you told me was, if I can do it, you can do it. And
That's true. I mean, that's the advice I usually give everyone. I'm a fucking shit. If I can figure it out, you can figure it out.
now a year later, and I'm making my first feature.
What's it called?
It's a documentary. It's called Alice. It's about one of my friends,
Right.
and she's a transgender woman who's also a director.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yes, and she's making her first feature next year, and I'm gonna be filming that, making a documentary about it.
So you're making a documentary about her. She's going to make her feature next year. You'll probably make a documentary about that too.
Yeah,
But this is you taking your first steps. Man.
Yeah,
This is you going, fuck,
and
I can
every
do
time
this.
I thought I can't do this, I thought back to the words you told me, and it got me through it. It got me
Oh
doing
my god, that makes me so happy. Like, why not you, right? Like, fucking, like, for years you watch shit and you're like, oh my god, I think I could
it.
fucking
That's
do
what
it.
I'm thinking, man.
Dude,
That's it.
thank you. I love what I do, don't get me wrong, but like, this shit will age out. Some quicker than others, right? Like, I've been able to make clerks last for a long fucking time and stuff. But some shit ages out pretty quickly and whatnot. So, you can't do it hoping that it'll last forever. You know, it's disposable entertainment. People see it and they fucking move on and stuff like that. And I can't just do it for the money, because if I was, I'd do it all fucking wrong and stuff. So why I do it is like that, shit like that. Like somebody, Richard Linklater did it until I heard. You know what I'm saying? He keeps doing it, he's become a master of his craft and shit. But like, I heard a clarion call. This motherfucker was singing his song in the middle of Texas. And he wasn't trained classically, he didn't fucking make a movie in LA or New York, he was just making it right there in fucking Bumblefuck, Texas. Turned out to be Austin, which is the capital of Texas. But I didn't know that. A little ignorance goes a long fucking way sometimes, man. So I was like, if he's singing a song there, why can't I sing this song here? And one of the things that I've loved about my career is like, people see my story and go like, fuck, that's right. Like, he's an idiot, why can't I do this? Like, it opens up doors for people. And in the beginning of my career, like, I didn't understand that as much. You know, like, I remember why I started, because I saw Richard Linklater's film. And so when people started coming up to me and going like, oh my God, Clerks made me want to be a filmmaker, all I could hear was, your movie looks so bad, I figured I could fucking do it, you know? And that's definitely part of it. So, but now, I've been doing this 2 decades, 22 years and stuff, and the thing that is probably the most satisfying, because I know how to make a movie, make my story, put it out there, watch my dream come true. I've done it a few times, and I never underestimated or I don't appreciate it, but I've done that once. So you look for different ways in on the job to make it exciting for you this time. Lately, for the last 10 years, it's this. It's the idea of like, I'm gonna fucking make that person do something. Like something they want to do, man. Like everyone's a fucking storyteller, you know what I'm saying? Like I met every filmmaker, not every filmmaker on the planet, but I met a fucking lot of them in 22 years, and I met like people like me who were just fucking grinding it out and shit like that. And I met the masters, like Quentin and Martin Scorsese. And here's what I know to be true about all of them. I don't care if they're good at the job or fucking bad at the job. Every filmmaker shares this one attribute. Man, woman, don't matter what the race is. Every one of them was a massive film fan and still remains a massive film fan. So that means the nucleus of every filmmaker is you. People who just sit in an audience and watch a movie. And maybe watch it a little more and like it a little more, than the average bear. You know, maybe you spend a lot more time talking about movies. Maybe movies more serious to you than fucking talking about sports with other people or something like that. Or movies is how you connect with people. Or movies is your first language and you're serious or something like that. But every one of those people that sit around watching movies like this, just like me, that's all I did throughout my entire childhood up until the time I saw Slacker and said I want to do that. So by virtue of that, like everyone in this room is a filmmaker. You know what I'm saying? You just haven't made a film yet. That's how my sister used to describe it when I was younger. I said, I want to be a filmmaker. After I saw Slacker, she goes, be a filmmaker. And I said, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to be a filmmaker. And I saw this movie, I want to be a filmmaker. She goes, you should be a filmmaker. I said, I'm going to be a filmmaker. That's what I'm telling you right now. I said, I'm going to fucking be a filmmaker. I was like, yeah. And she goes, then be a filmmaker. And I was like, what the fuck game is being played here, man? Like, what do you mean? I'm not sure. And so my sister said, I said, what do you mean by this? And my sister says, be a filmmaker. She goes like, don't talk about when you're a filmmaker. You're sitting here talking about this future where it's going to happen. She's going, don't do that because you'll let yourself off the hook. Be a filmmaker right now with every thought that you have, with every fucking breath that you take. Thank you so much. Every action you take in life, every thought you have, think it as a filmmaker. Be it as a filmmaker. You're a filmmaker, Kevin. You just haven't made a film yet. And it sounded like, you know, from Tony Robbins bullshit. Like, just very pie in the sky. Like, you are the master of your destiny. But the next day I tried. I woke up and I was like, fuck it. It costs nothing. I'll give it a shot. And I started believing in myself as a filmmaker. You can't really expect people to see you as you believe you are unless you fucking believe that you are that thing. So from that moment forward, like, that's the fuel I run on. I'm a filmmaker. I'm a filmmaker. Back then it was, I'm a filmmaker, I just haven't made a film yet. And now I just remind myself all the time, that's what I desperately want to do. Everyone in this audience is the same way. You're all filmmakers, you just haven't made a film yet. And now it's easy. Like, now there's no more excuse to just be like, no, I just watch shit like that. Are you kidding me? You're this guy. You love it so much, you're like, I can't, look, I do love it, I'll continue watching it for the rest of my life, but there ain't no reason I can't do that. Why then, why not me? There's no guff between me and that. Like, that's what they call talent in art. People will come up with all sorts of words to scare you out of doing something fucking fun and shit. Don't mean anything. There's no such thing as fucking talent. I don't believe in talent. Like, critics are like, you don't believe in talent, you have not. But I don't really believe in talent, like traditionally as they call it. People go like, that's a talented person. Bullshit. You know what talent is? Look at the roof. You see how there's no support beams in the middle of this? Yet it does not fall down and crush us. Whoever built this is fucking talented, man. But like standing up on stage and being like, this is my life and shit like that. Or being on a movie set and fucking turning my baseball cap backwards and not talking. That doesn't take talent. That's the absolute opposite of talent. Really, if you define it that way. It doesn't take talent to make pretend. It doesn't take talent to stand on a movie set and be like, I'm Batman. Fucking Ben Affleck does it. So I know it doesn't take talent. You don't ever let somebody be like, oh, that's fucking talented, bro. Don't let yourself off the hook. Motherfuckers do it to themselves all the time. Oh, I'm not talented. Bullshit. I'm not talented. I've been doing this 22 years. Fuck them. Who says that only talented people can play? Yeah. Will players get to play as well, man? The beautiful thing about the game of hockey, which I've always loved, is there are a bunch of people on the ice who are insanely proficient. And then every once in a while, you see a motherfucker who's not insanely proficient, but he's standing fucking shoulder to shoulder with gods. You know why? Will himself there, man. Like, you can do that. Anybody can do that and stuff. Just like you're doing it fucking right now. One day you were like, fuck it, I'm making a movie. And now you're doing it. And bless you. And now you know what your next fucking movie is going to be. You're already fucking ahead of the game, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, fucking, I know people who made first films that are crippled, paralyzed. Brian Johnson, my friend Brian Johnson, made Vulgar. He still hasn't made another movie because he's terrified of the second choice and stuff. You already know where you're going, man. You've got your fucking destiny charted. I salute you, fellow filmmaker, but we're surrounded by them in this room. Now we just have to flip them all one by one. And if you sit there and go, I don't want to make a film, fine, don't make a film. Just self-express, do something. Take your thing out there. That thing that you always sit there going, why I'd love to fucking do that shit. That looks fucking fun. It is fun. Whatever you look at, unless what you think is fun is killing children, don't do that. But like, you watch movies and shit, and like, oh, looks fun. You read a book, you're like, this seems fun, or whatever the fuck. Like, all this shit is yours. It doesn't belong to anybody else. People don't lock up, you know, fucking rights to do this kind of thing. Self-expression belongs to everybody. You used to do it a lot when you were a kid. Run around, make pretend and shit like that. Have a good time, then you get older and you age out of it, supposedly. Bullshit. I never wanted to age out of it. I like making pretend and stuff like that. Especially when they're like, here's your money, you do it. So I encourage everyone to give it a shot. Like, if you're a movie watcher, and fuck, if you're here now, you're clearly a movie watcher. If you made it all the way through that movie and you're still listening to me talk about that stuff. If you're a movie watcher, you're a movie maker, man. The only difference, you just haven't made your movie yet. I guarantee you got a movie in you. Obviously you do, obviously you got a movie in mind. Everyone else in this place does too. I look out there, I see nothing but content generators, man. Everybody has a fucking story to tell, different from mine, different from yours, different from everybody else's. It's valid. It's fucking, that's rare, you know, that's a natural resource. And other people can't duplicate it because they haven't lived your fucking life. Your perspective is important. Like, your voice is your currency. It's the only fucking currency you get to spend in this life is your voice, man. If you're young, enjoy it. One day you're gonna be old and fucking die. Like, if you're beautiful, enjoy it. One day you fucking age out of that shit and whatnot. But like, your voice doesn't enterprise. You don't lose that. Your voice only gets more and more clear and crisp the older you get. It's your perspective by which you see the world and spit out your take on it and stuff like that. That's your currency in life. A lot of people tend to hoard that, like Scrooge McDuck or Smaug, just sit on it and shit. My feeling is spend it, because it's endless. It doesn't go away. You can't run out of it and shit like that. So you got so much currency. Fucking spend it. Spend it any way you feel you can, whether it's push people toward podcasting because it's cheap and easy and everybody has a phone and you can record right on that and stuff like that. But it don't have to be like showy shit. You know, open a fucking bake shop, knit a blanket, walk dogs, whatever your fucking thing is where you're like, I'd like to do that, but you know, but what if it doesn't work? Fuck you, what if it works? Like, I stand here before you, the guy that it worked for. You know what I'm saying? I don't just say things pie in the sky like, you could, it could happen to you. I fucking lived it, bitch. Like, seriously. I'm like the least talented person I know, and shit happened because I just stepped toward it. Because this is what I know. I don't care if you're the most talented person in the world, nobody ever shows up to your door, knocks on and says, here are all your fucking dreams coming true. You just have to fucking make a move toward it, man. And like, you know, I'm not saying like make it your life, build 5-year plans, step on people's necks to get what you want. Bullshit, I say push whimsy. Like, you have an idea, like a fun, cool thing, a whimsy, like I'd like to do that, man. I always thought about that, it seems fun and shit. Just push it forward every day. Try to make it a little more real every day. But not to the point where you're hassling anybody. If there's ever pushback, just fuck off, do something else for a while. Come back to it the next day and shit. Just push whimsy a little bit every day. Bring it toward reality. Push it toward reality, man. And don't fucking put anyone else out while doing it. Just do it in your spare time. I swear to you, before you know it, you look back, there's a very long fucking trail behind you, and the fucking destination is within reach and stuff. You know, there's ways to get what you want in life. And I've found that if you're insanely patient and don't give a fuck about timing, you can pretty much get everything you want. It just doesn't happen on your schedule, which is fucking fine, man. Produce, make shit, go out and say who you are. Write your name on that fucking wall so they know who you fucking are, or know who you were. Because unfortunately, this all ends, and we only get to chance this long while we're here to let people know what's in our head and hearts and stuff like that. I salute you, man. That fucking makes me so happy. Go make 10 fucking movies. Make them better than this, so. I'll just do one more and get the fuck out of here, man. Say everybody out and tonight. Do the next. We're going to go ahead.
Maybe a simple question to end the night. First of all, I'd like to ask Arlie, since you said you were watching Jodie Foster and you're thinking about doing that in a couple of years, is this something that you're entertaining now? Or it's just because right now you're in the midst of you're on the big screen every night and all that? Little question for Kevin to finish. Why did you went from the Oilers to Chicago for colors on your jersey?
Well, first, because mine's an hour-long story. Oh, no. Are you serious about acting? Is that the question?
Yes,
is
that's
this something
the
she's
question.
into now?
Are you there?
Yeah.
I'm fine. I literally.
In the Batman jersey. I'm sure you saw one of these.
Alright.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't used to want to act. I wanted to play bass guitar in a rock band for the rest of my life. And I did that with my friends for like 4 years until we filmed that scene in Tuscan. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. I wish I could do this again. And then lo and behold, I was handed the script and was like, do you want to do this again, but for like a much longer time? And I was like, absolutely. And that was a very rare opportunity for just to be handed a movie that you also star in. It's a very rare opportunity, especially for someone that's just starting to act, and for that I will forever be grateful. But because of that, I'm mostly grateful because it allowed me to see that I want to act more than anything in the world. It means the world to me to be able to portray characters that are so different from myself, and not that a teenage girl is that far-fetched from myself.
Yeah, what a stretch, kid. Holy shit. This girl fucking street over here.
Oh my god. In the future, I hope to portray characters that are much different than me, but I constantly go on auditions. I am in school. I'm trying to graduate school first. I'm about to go into my last year of high school, and then I plan on never going back to school. So, all I want to do is act, and I would love to write too, and write stuff that I can act in. So, I do want to act for the rest of my life, but first I just want to finish school really fast, and I'll go back to it.
She goes on auditions, bless you. And, in that world, in our world, like, I fucking cast shit all the time. I'm trying to explain to her as a kid, and she just turned 17. So for most of last year, she's 16 auditioning. And I'm like, it's tough to hire a 16-year-old, even if you're fucking brilliant, because you can't work 12 hours. So all these TV shows and auditions where they're on a fucking tight schedule and stuff, and anytime you see a teenager, they're generally played by 25 to 30-year-olds and stuff, so that's the reason why. But I know it's kind of bittersweet, but I know her biggest fucking dream in life, the thing that she'll feel whole when it happens, is if anybody but me casts her. Like right now, it's just like, he has to cast me, which I fucking don't, but she's like, he has to cast me. The moment somebody else who's not me casts her, they're gonna get an Academy Award-winning performance, man, because she's just gonna leave it all right there. Like right now, I'm dad, and dad's like, hey, let's go do shit, but she won't feel it's real until somebody who's not dad is like, you're very talented, you should be in this thing. So I'm hoping it happens, but at the same time, I'm like, we did stuff together too. As for New Jersey, I wore Edmonton for many years, and I switched up to these Blackhawks colors, and not for any sort of team loyalty, although I do think the Blackhawks are a pretty cool team. It's more thin. It comes down to it, man. Somebody's on the black jersey, I look decent. In Edmonton jersey, the colors, I love those colors, man, and those colors mean the world to me, but they're rather bright and circusy. So, I go out there and people be like, doo, 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 doo. And now I go out in this and I'm like, you all have a good time this evening, Montreal.
It's cool.
She's asking much, so here we go. Oh, that is kind of cool.
I told you.
There we go, sorry. Thanks for being here, man.
Open, but I